What's up, everybody? Sorry about the delay. I was moving around couches. Finally got furniture delivered. If anything is affected still by delays, it's not just silicon, it's apparently furniture. So, how's everybody doing today? I've got my Mythic Melon in my shaker cup. And hope you guys are having an awesome day. It's been raining and storming and all sorts of fun stuff here. So, if you guys noticed, there was some content coming onto the website for the Chiron. I actually have it here, and I have most of the video shot for it. I just need to edit it. And I am actually giving Adobe Premiere a shot because Vegas, as much as I like Vegas and that, you know, they let you license the software and you don't have to pay a monthly fee. I'm not a big fan of monthly fees. It keeps crashing on me, so I'm kind of at my wit's end, but I do want to show it. I don't think I've shown it in action here, so I do have our firmware on this printer, and I printed a knob. I've been on a kick for printing knobs. So I put a fancy knob on here. So anyways, one thing that is pretty cool is we are utilizing the dual Z motors and dual Z end stops that this printer has, which is pretty cool. So if I move this up here, it will actually be able to level its gantry out on its own. So I'm going to move that up, disable steppers, and I'm going to skew this here. So I'm going to bring this side down, and I'm going to bring this side up. So the gantry is not level. But check this out. When I actually home it, just to show that everything is working here, go and auto home. You'll actually see, pay attention to the end stop lights. You'll see that it will level itself out, which is pretty cool. So there we go. It leveled itself out. We're going to be doing the video on installing this kit to get rid of the stock touchscreen, and then there will also be a supplementary Easy ABL one as well. So the SD slot is now on the side of the screen. You're no longer using the slot here because it's no longer used, but this should all be done tomorrow. So if you guys are looking to get rid of the Anycubic screen, this guy here, we will have an option for you to do that. So, and it's the same angle as a factory screen, same location. And like I said, it'll just make life a lot easier. And we did push some firmware updates today for Unified 2. So, but I had a lot of fun playing with this machine. It's actually pretty nice. I don't know what I'm going to use it for because I already have a large machine and I don't do that many large prints. But I do have some project ideas coming up. Because I am building like an entertainment room in our basement here, and I picked up some frames, and I'm going to be doing some modeling to take some of the easy neo strips, because they're the perfect length, to make smart controlled lights that will light up the movie poster frames that'll clip onto the top of the picture frame. So that'd be pretty cool. So anyways, I do have some stuff here, and I took notes today. We're being fancy here. So one thing I did want to talk about, because someone had mentioned in the comments, they were complaining about the SD card not mounting. And if on the SD card, if we actually go onto the printer's menu, if your printer has an SD detect pin, it should say no SD. Now, not all boards and or screens have SD detect pins. So this screen does have an SD detect pin, so it will utilize the auto mounting. And you can tell that it has an SD detect pin because if we go here, it says no SD. So if I put an SD card in, now I had an 8 gig. This takes a full size, and all my other SD cards are micros. Where did I put that SD card? Oh, it's right here. So if I put the card in, you'll see that it's able to tell that it was inserted, and you can see right here, print from SD. Now you can hit change SD, and what it'll do is it will remount it. So this is smart enough to know that it's gone. So you see SD removed. But the issue the guy was having is he's using an extension. So if you're using an extension, it's going to tell the LCD that it's always has a card installed, regardless if the card's at the other end of the extension or not. And this is because when you put the card in, it is physically touching two contacts together, and those contacts are connected to an I/O pin that tells it that there's an SD card present. So in the pin configuration file for the board, it knows that there's an SD detect pin, and when that SD card is inserted, it makes that pin change state. So it knows if the card's in or not. So if you have an SD extension and you have a printer that does have an SD detect pin, you're going to have some trouble using the SD card when you're changing it because the printer always thinks it's in there. Now, if you have an SD extension on like if I put an SD extension on here and wanted to change it, so what you would do is just swap the card out and go to the menu, hit change LCD. And what that will do is it'll force the firmware to inventory what's on that SD card and giving you the latest updates. So the only thing that's not going to work is the auto mount and dismount because it's dumb. It's just a contact, a physical contact, and if you always have an extension in, it's always going to think there's a card there. So it's not an issue with the firmware, it's that you're using an extension. The firmware has no idea that you're using an extension. So, or, you know, it is 2021, just put Octoprint on your printer and print over the network. The only time I print from SD is if I'm testing a printer that we just built, if I'm doing a test, like a printer's on a bench here, where I'm not normally printing with this, but all my printers here have Octoprint. If you don't want to build your own Octoprint kit, and especially right now, prices are going up on all the components to make a kit. We do have pre-built kits, and we have had to increase our prices because of the increase in costs. But right now, for $135, you can get a fully ready-to-go setup kit that also comes with technical support. So if you are a new person and you have questions or you are having trouble, we will actually give you technical support on that product. So we use Octoprint on every single printer here. Every single printer in my personal stash of machines here in my office and all the printers on our print farm, all of them use Octoprint. I love Octoprint so much. I can't imagine trying to run around our print farm with SD cards instead of just being able to sit at the computer and connect to every single printer on the network and just send my G-code files to it. So you can actually slice on the actual Octoprint. It uses Cura. But we just generate the G-code with Simplify 3D, and then we upload the G-code files to the printer. So you can also do cool stuff like tie in with smart plugs, like we have our Easy Plug, which is a smart Wi-Fi plug. I actually happen to have one sitting right here. So you can have the printer turn on and off automatically with Octoprint. You can also add another layer of protection to the printer by having this cut the power in the event that the printer locks up and Octoprint detects that, hey, this printer's not responding. I'm just going to kill it because there could be something wrong, and better be safe than sorry. You could also put a camera on it to monitor the prints remotely to do time lapses. So it's really cool and a very powerful tool, not only for convenience, but also for safety and just general creature comfort. So I've been using Octoprint basically since mid 2018, before, you know, TH3D was really a big thing. I can't go back. It's one of those things, once you have it, you realize what you're missing out on when dealing with SD cards. So I just talked about the Chiron update. The other thing is we did push a firmware update today. Unified 2.33 is out. If you guys are using Marlin, you might be affected by this bug, and we did post a detail for the, what's it called? For detailed on the bug, and the bug is that the TMC stepper library was updated by the person that maintains that, and it broke compiles for Marlin. So if you downloaded our firmware and it was 2.32 and you try to compile with a board like our Easy board that has the TMC drivers, you would get a error because the library was broken. So we've locked in the version number at 0.71. So if you download the latest version, you don't have to worry about this. I've already taken care of the changes, so you don't have to encounter that bug. So anyways, yeah, so that's already pushed out. That's already on the Easy firmware site. It's already, all of our downloads are updated to 2.33. We also added back the Skr E3 Mini Firmware. That is the only Skr board we will ever do firmware for, because it is a non-socketed driver board and it's not a universal board. So that is, we are still going to be doing updates, just because if you followed the last stream, you know, I talked to Luke over at I want to say at BTT, but he doesn't work for them. He's just an admin and a guy that helps out. He said some stuff that pissed me off that was out of line, so I said, screw it, we're not doing firmware, but him and I are on good terms now, so we will keep rolling out updates for those boards. Those are still unsupported firmware. It's more of a, hey, I'm just doing this to help out users who have those boards, because we all know, you know, Big Tree Tech doesn't really stand behind their stuff in terms of software support. So trying to help people out, because I do recognize that we have customers that use their products. So that's all the updates I have here. Just deleting my little note here since I covered everything. And let's get into the chat. So let me pop my chat out here. Hopefully YouTube is cooperating. Let's see. All right, so who's the first one here? Let's see. Oh, one other thing, this is not 3D printing related, but something you guys should know. If you're a T-Mobile customer, they get a huge data breach. I do not use them for my cell phone, but that little silver cylinder, that's their 5G home internet. So it seems like over 100 million customer information was leaked, including social security numbers. So yay! Hopefully you had fraud protection. Yeah, I just felt that's worth mentioning because I feel like somebody watching here probably has T-Mobile and may or may not have been aware of this huge breach. So yeah, just Google T-Mobile data breach. There's a million articles about it. It's big. And to make matters worse, for the record, I do not like T-Mobile. I will not get them for my cell phone. I've tried them before. Their network is garbage, and I laughed when they teamed up and bought Sprint. So you took two of the crappiest carriers in the U.S. and turned them into one giant crappy carrier. As much as I hate Verizon and their policies, their network is solid, and that's what I use. So, but unfortunately, I have T-Mobile's home internet, which does work well, aside from them blocking port 53, so you have to use their DNS servers if you're an average person. I just tunnel my DNS requests over HTTPS, but that's a rant for another day. Yeah, I'm not a fan of T-Mobile. But anyways, I went to go change my password on the account, and their password system was broken last night. So, yeah, we see where they're cutting costs to make the service cheaper. It's clearly the technology and security. That's just what it seems like from my end. Anyways, the first question of the stream is from Randall. Are we going to add ocean blue coax to our inventory? We do tend to add colors on. If that's something, would anybody else be interested? That's the thing. If I have like one person, it's like, maybe. Because we physically hold the inventory here. We're not drop shipping. So whatever colors we get, we physically have to put the money up to get them. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going through the questions. I'll let Joe know because him and I were talking about different colors to add. And I wouldn't be opposed to that. I definitely want to add eventually their full line. I just don't want to go full in and have, hundreds and hundreds of rolls here and them not be popular colors. Size asking, he said he bought two identical stepper motors, upgrade my Ender 3 to dual Z, but the stepper just vibrates and doesn't move a whole lot. Trying ramping up the current, but no look. So I'm assuming both of them are vibrating. If they are, if they're both doing the same thing, it sounds like your wiring is off. You can try swapping the two center pins at each of the motors. So you have typically a 6-pin plug with only 4 pins populated. So pins 1, 3, 4, and 6 are populated. Pins 2 and 5 are usually empty. So pins 3 and 4, the two center pins, remove those from the housing, flip them and put them back in, and that usually will correct most issues. So if your stepper motor is shaking, that usually indicates that there's a wiring problem. It doesn't usually mean that your stepper driver or your board is the problem. It usually means that your wiring is wrong. Depending on the brand of motors, some motors, the pins 1 and 3 are one coil and 4 and 6 are another, but on some brands, and Creality uses for some reason two different wiring configurations on their motors, on their printers, depending on if it's X, Y, E, or Z. Sometimes pins 1 and 4 are coil 1, and pins 3 and 6 are coil 2. So if you just search on YouTube TH3D stepper testing, there is an easy tip video. It's a short video that shows you how to identify where your coils are for the wiring. So basically on your 4-pin plug from your board, you've got there's your A coil and your B coil, and if those two are flipped in the center, it acts weird and usually shakes. So usually a wiring issue. Don't go messing with VREF or anything. It's usually just a simple issue where the wiring is not correct, and usually swapping the two center pins will clear that up. Someone's talking about, we were talking about that Creality 3D scanner. Yeah, I looked into it more, and I have one of those old Xbox Connects, and there's a program called Scanect or something like that. I think I'm going to play with that because it seems like it's about the same resolution. And I was looking up reviews for the Creality 3D scanner, and it doesn't seem to be that great of a product. So I might look at something a little more economical because Xbox Connect, you can have those for like a Gen 1 for under $100. What are you doing, dog? Hi. Why are you being needy? Go lay down. Nope, you're not getting anything right now. Let's see here. Vegas is surrounded by fires here. Oh, that sucks. Are you in California or Canada? Doesn't Canada? I saw AVE posted an update. He was evacuating because there were fires by him. M. Poffenbarger's asking about the Ender 6 top. I've been talking with Joe about it because he has a capability to cut panels. Basically, the holdup is the material cost right now. We'd be looking at a retail price with low margins, well over $120 because materials have gone up quite a bit. I would like one, but you know, it's a matter of time and how much time him and I have to work on that kind of stuff. Guitarman's asking, when are we getting more PL colors and when are we adding PET G? I was talking, someone asked about that. I have been very happy with their PET G. I actually ran a bunch of prints off on the Chiron during the testing with their PET G, and I've been very happy with it. It's very, there's very little stringing with it. It's the same consistent diameter and everything as their other filaments. So probably in a couple weeks, we do need to reorder quite a few colors. So dog, he's literally like pushing, he's like leaning into my chair and pushing. Go lay down. Hang on. You know, if I talk to him in a nice voice, he just doesn't listen half the time, and I have to get my dad voice out, which is why I muted my mic, because no one wants to hear me yelling at the dog. Why are you such a pain? Let's see. Yeah, you can also check coaxllc.com. They carry a ton of stuff. Yes, I see Bardic is saying G34 FTW. Yeah, so G34 will be enabled in the firmware for this, whether you have an easy ABL in there or it's stock. So, sorry, G34 is only used with probe, so you would have to have a probe. But I have two different ways we're setting up the Chiron. You can either have it so when you home Z, it's going to use the end stops for homing, or just by changing one option, you don't have to disconnect the end stops. It'll just ignore them. It'd be an option to use like all the other machines where the probe is used for homing. So there'll be two different options depending on what you want to use, but G34 will be available in either of them. So let's see. Nemograph says he's got some weirdness lately with his Ender 3 easy board. After the probe homes and starts to probe the bed, there's a stutter with the X. Could that be the motor or the driver? I would check the wiring. A lot of times, especially if the machine's been running for a while, I've had some machines where it's like, I don't know if I would call it stuttering, but just like, well, I guess that would be stuttering. I was going to say not smooth motion, but where you can get corrosion, or corrosion is not the right word. Oxidation on the pins, and it can lead to poor connection. But check your connections and rule out physical issues. The thing I'll do is, if let's say I'm having issues with my X, I will take the X and Y on the board and flip them, and then move the Y and see if the issue follows even on the driver. So basically, if you swap the two plugs at the board, your X motor is now connected to the Y driver, and your Y driver is now connecting to the X. So if it's a driver issue and you tell Y to move, and remember, X is now connected to Y, the issue should go away if it's the X driver. If the issue follows and is still present even on the Y with the same X motor and X cable, then that indicates that it's an issue with the motor and or the cable. So you got to kind of use the printer itself to diagnose itself, if that makes sense. So let's see. I don't know why he's being so pacey. It's kind of annoying. I hate when the dogs get pacey. Let's see. He finally laid down. Andrew said, have you seen the issue of the extruder binding on the Ender 3 Max? Mine came with an integrated Bowden coupler. Should I replace it? I haven't looked at the Ender 3 Max in a little bit because it's sitting in my garage right now. We were going to outfit it and put it into the printer farm, but I've been busy and we don't need it right now. I'm just pulling up a picture to refresh my memory. I don't believe it's integrated into... I don't believe it's integrated into the extruder. I thought it threads out, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. I thought it was the metal one, unless I'm thinking of something else. I'm just trying to find our video here. TH3 Ender 3 Max unboxing video. Let's see. I can't remember if it was an integrated one or not. I thought it was a coupler that is able to be replaced. Oh no, you are right. Yeah, that is a weird one. I don't know why I didn't complain. Did I complain about that on the stream? I feel like that's something I would have complained about. Yeah, you're basically, I mean, if that's failing, you're basically just going to have to replace it. That extruder can be replaced with our just our standard upgraded aluminum extruder, which is like 20 bucks. And that's going to use the same E-steps as the standard one. So if you're looking for something just to replace it, and our extruder has replaceable fittings, so the fitting does fail, you can just replace the fitting instead of the whole extruder. I'm surprised I did not complain about that more, because that seems like something I would have complained about unless I just didn't notice it. Yeah, I like being able to replace my fittings, because the fittings are a wearable item. You know, especially on, you know, I'm willing to make concessions like, you know, on like E3D Titans or like even our tough extruders. Those have that integrated clip fitting. Those typically will last a long time, but when you're dealing with the fittings that come with the printers that are really cheap, I want to be able to replace them because they typically do not last. So, but you could always replace it with a different extruder entirely as well. So, let's see. I'm looking through here. 3D Jeff is asking. There it is. I scrolled and lost the thing. 3D Jeff is asking, is a Pi Zero with a camera header good for a CR10? No, don't use a Pi Zero for Octoprint. Even Octoprint themselves, Gina says, don't use it. They're too slow. Don't be a cheap ass. Get at least a Pi 3B or higher. I don't even know if you can really buy 3Bs anymore. I'm sure there's some like old stock laying around. But 3B, 3B plus, Pi 4, that's what you should be using for Octoprint. Don't waste your time with anything lower than that. So lower than that being Pi 0, the Pi 2, basically 3B, 3B plus, or 4, those are the 3 Pis you should be using for Octoprint. Anything else is just going to give you problems. I have a mix here of 3B, 3B pluses, and 4s. Any new setups, I will use a 4, but I also have 3Bs and 3B pluses. They can all run the same image, and, you know, the 4 is noticeably faster when you're using it, but in terms of printing, they all seem to work the same. I don't have, like, print quality issues on the 3B or 3B plus. I'm not running a ton of... Well, I am running plugins, but I'm not running stuff that's on it. I'm not running stuff on it that's going to cause a lot of CPU load. So, let's see. Kyle is asking about the Easy Firmware site with the Z offset wizard. You can do that through editing the config file or uploading your own. The Z offset wizard is buggy. We had a lot of bug reports, so that's why I got moved to the community supported features, because it's a pain. So if you want to use that, you have to use the online editor. It is not in the wizard, and it will not be added to the wizard because I don't want it to seem like we are officially supporting it, because we had too many bug reports with it. The only reason it's in there is because people then also complained that it wasn't in there. But having it in the community section allows me to have a notice. So let's see, main monitor. Here we go. So you can click online editor, or you can upload your config file. And if you scroll down, you'll see in the community features, which is towards the bottom. So you see we were extra setting, community requested features, Z probe offset wizard. So you have to use the online editor. So the online editor and the config file give you more flexibility. This is the easy config wizard is for more basic stuff. So if you're getting into more basics, more advanced stuff, you're going to want to use either the online editor, which is just editing the config file on the website, or you can edit the file on your computer and then upload it to the server to be compiled. So I can see a lot of people started updating already to 2.3.3. So anyways, yeah, use the online editor for more advanced features or customizations, because you can edit more than just the features we have. So if you have something that's a little more specialized, you can still go ahead and edit it and have the server compile it for you. So let's see. Mike V, 50 million confirmed now with T-Mobile. Oh, that's rough. Yeah. Tommy O is asking an update on the EasyBoard. Check our news site. Go to our website. Click news. I posted an update yesterday. I also got pictures of the finished boards sent to me yesterday as well. So I should have them in a couple of days if FedEx gets them to me. So that means I can start testing. And then once they're tested for a week or two, we're going to run production on them. So, and we are using genuine STM chips. You will not find any GigaDevice chips on any of our boards because I like using the original stuff. Let's see. Kenny Stratton's asking, do we know if the 422 board, the Creality 422, would work on the CR10 and a 12-volt power supply? The answer is yes, but use a MOSFET for the bed. I did do testing on the 427 boards because we sell them. The 427 and 422 are basically the same in terms of load testing. The traces got up to 60C with a CR10 bed on it. So the 427 boards, Creality markets them as a 24-volt printer board. So the copper traces are not thick enough to properly handle the current. Their older Melzi boards actually handled the current better and did not heat up as much with the 12-volt printer. So, but when you go to a 24-volt printer, even though the wattage of the bed is basically the same between the Ender 3 and the CR10, there's less amps going through it because the voltage is higher. So, but yes, you can use a 422 board with a CR10. Just make sure to use a MOSFET for the bed. Now, most CR10s did come with separate MOSFETs in there, so if you have that, you can go ahead and just use the existing MOSFET, and that'll take the load of the bed off of the board. If you don't have a MOSFET, we do actually sell MOSFETs in our shop for like $13 that are universal, and you can use them with any 3D printer board. So, John Santiago has said he's flashed Alex firmware onto his Aquila. So far, so good. I have not had a chance to do the Aquila because I'm trying to get this wrapped up. So like I said, all the stuff for this should be done tomorrow. All the stuff will be ready for purchase tomorrow. And my goal is to get the video showing how to install the LCD done. If you guys do have a Chiron and you want to get an easy ABL kit, there will be a video showing how to install it. Basically, the installation procedure for the Chiron is going to be the same aside from how we connect power and how we connect to the Z end stop because of the weird setup that this has, and I don't want to be disconnecting the Z end stops. But you have to have the LCD kit to use the easy ABL with the Chiron, and we include a bunch, like a whole pack of jumper wires. So we will be using those. Remo, what are you doing? So we will be using those to install the Easy ABL kit. So basically, if you are putting the Easy ABL on the Chiron, you're already going to have the LCD kit, and it comes with a bunch of extra wires. So, but yeah. Let's see. Sai says he's got Skr Mini with 4 stepper drivers. I want to add one additional stepper for the Auto Z11. You think I can make use of the TFT connector because they have UART pins? So those are UART pins, but you're gonna need, I think it's 5. Don't quote me on this. I'm just going off memory because we have our board. I just looked at the schematic because I was talking to Scott about this because he was talking about like the Raspberry Pi 2040 board, and I was like, he's like, yeah, it's got 30 IO pins. I was like, I don't think that's enough for even a 4-driver setup. And I believe you need 5 IO pins. So you have your direction, your enable. If you're using like 2208s, 2209s, you got a diag pin, and I'm forgetting something. There's the UART. Oh, the UART, the TX and RX. But you can also do 1-wire UART sometimes. So you need at least 4 minimum if you're doing like a TMC 2208, 2209 setup that's like connected with UART. I mean, anything is possible with enough patience and work put into the code. I mean, if you basically have enough IO pins and you have a breakout board and you can put a driver on. I do actually have little stepper breakout boards. It's possible, but do you have the knowledge to do it? Most people don't. So, me personally, even though I could get it working, I would rather just get a 5-driver board like an MKS S-Gen L and call it a day instead of trying to hack on something to another board. Walker, while he's asking about, he's got an EasyBoard N3V2. He installed a Marin. He's on the 2.32. Any reason to update to 2.33? No, there's not. The 2.33 update didn't really affect anything for the EasyBoard aside from if you were compiling today. because if you were to download the 2.3.2 version and go to compile, it's going to pull the latest TMC stepper. So basically, this is an issue that popped up today, as far as I know. I didn't look to see when the TMC stepper library was released, but people started reporting the issues today. I noticed it today because I went to compile. So basically, it was something that would have just affected people recently. So the answer is no. In general, your 3D printer firmware doesn't need to be upgraded unless you're doing something that requires a firmware update, or there's some big major bug that could potentially burn your house down, which if you're using our stuff, that is few and far between. I have printers here running firmware that are 2+ years old because guess what? They work. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's not like your computer that, is connected to the internet and, is able to send and receive commands, and you got to be worried about security stuff. Printers are a little dumber of a device. You don't need to upgrade it unless you have a problem you're trying to fix, or you're adding something on, et cetera, et cetera. So let's see. And chat jumped. Jim said he is trying to find the bin file for his SKR. If you're using our firmware, read the directions, and it will tell you to look in the PIO folder, and then there's a folder within that that's got the name of the build environment, and inside that is a firmware.bin. Now, it's not labeled just firmware.bin on those. Oh, no, those might be labeled firmware.bin. It's been a little bit. But like on the Creality ones, it's firmware-a-datecode.bin. I believe the SKR Mini E3 is firmware.bin. So if you look at that, look at our documentation for that firmware, it tells you where to get the file from. And even if you're using regular Marlin, you should also have that same file in that same folder. So, because remember, Unified 2 is Marlin. Rob Berg is listening to me on my drive home. Rob is a guy I used to work with at Tiger Direct, if my memory serves correct. Did you get into 3D printing, Rob? Did you get sucked into this void that consumes all time and money? Let's see. Vickaz says, have I had issues with coax filament breaking on the spool? I had 2 black PLS spoons wound so tight, I use a pick to break free. Josh mentioned they did have an issue with the machine setting. I have never had an issue with spooling or brittleness with coax. But if you do contact them, you have a problem, they will make it right. So they're not going to be like, tough shit. No, I haven't had any issues with them. But the thing is, if I did, I know if I contacted them and said, hey, this spool's messed up or the filament's brittle, they're going to, make it right, instead of other sellers that I bought bulk filament for basically telling me, you're shit out of luck. Randall B, is a free shipping over $125 not working? If you're adding filament, we had to exclude filament from the free shipping because of the weight. We were literally losing money selling filament. So it is excluded from the free shipping, and we did update the free shipping terms to specify that filament is not included in that. So if you have an order that you're getting filament on, it's going to charge you shipping on that order. If you want to get, like, let's say you're ordering $150 worth of stuff, and you want to get the free shipping on that stuff less the filament, put a separate order in so you can get the free shipping on the other stuff, and then put the filament order in separately. Filament weighs 2.2 pounds roughly, so especially going UPS and stuff, or someone orders like 10 rolls, we were actually losing money after the credit card processing fees and shipping fees. So we had to exclude filament from free shipping. The downside is being a smaller business, we don't have a lot of, like, we have high volume. Like, if you looked at the numbers, you'd be like, that's a lot of money on shipping. We do spend a lot on shipping. But the carriers basically look at us and they're like, you're too small to really get any more discounts than we already are giving you. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Oh, look, it's stopping raining a little bit. That's good. Let's see. Vert is asking, have you seen my new features with the mixing presets and UBL Mesh Wizard? I did talk to you, and I was looking at your UBL Mesh Wizard, but I don't have any printers that do mixing anymore. I feel like mixing's kind of gimmicky. I'm pretty basic. I have my palette too, which I haven't used in months, because I really just do single color stuff, and I haven't gotten tired of removing supports to play with dissolvable stuff yet. So I still feel like dual color or, IDEX or dual extrusion is very niche. If you're doing stuff that needs it, it's great. But if not, it's like, eh. So, let's see here. Let's see. Chemical Artist 3D. Do you plan a review of the Daedalus printer in the background there? That's a good question. I mean, so here's the thing. I got that as a beta unit. I did send it back to Joe, and aside from it missing I think I'm missing one cosmetic cover. It's the same as their retail units. So I don't really have an unboxing. Like, they come fully assembled. Like, you literally take it out of the box, remove the packing materials, and it's ready to go. I don't have a plan to review. I mean, I like the printer. It works. I send a print job to it, and it comes out great. The only modification I did do to it is I took the 0.4 V6 nozzle out of it, and I put a 0.6 EasyFlow V6 nozzle in. Because it's really good for prototyping. It's a fast printer, and having that 0.6 copper nozzle in there allows me to get parts out even faster. So, but I mean, it's a good printer. If you guys are looking for a tool and not something to tinker with, I can highly recommend it. That's their whole angle is it is a tool. It's not you can mod it, but I feel like it doesn't need to be modded. It just works out of the box. The only other thing I did put on it was I put a 310 by 310 Easy Flex on it. So flex plate, and I changed the nozzle. So really not much at all. So it comes with an easy ABL on it. It comes with a filament sensor. It's got the Duet 3 system in there. It's got a Pi SBC set up in there. So it's already network connected. It's got all the stuff I like out of the box. So, it is a more expensive printer. It's not for, people that are just putzing around. You're better off, honestly, with the Chinese printers. But if, you're looking for something for a school or for a company or just a printer that works, I can definitely recommend it. I have no complaints about it. So, let's see here. Ram Design's asking about the LCD kit. We are printing the parts right now. I told them I want those stocked tomorrow, and they're processing them right now. So they should be ready for sale tomorrow. If I don't see them for sale when I sign in today, I'm going to go out there and stock them myself. So, but the video should be done tomorrow, pending no issues. Like I said, I'm going to use Adobe Premiere for this one, so it's probably going to take me a little longer because of the learning curve with new software. But I'm just going to force myself to use it. I recorded all this, so this has the kit on it already. That video was all recorded, so I have the raw footage I need to edit and then publish. So hopefully Premiere isn't too much different from hopefully it isn't too much different from what's the word I'm looking for, from Vegas, so I can pick up on it quick. But we'll find out. We'll see if the video sucks. If I find it very hard to move from Vegas to Premiere, what I'll do is I'll just push through Vegas and get it done. I don't know if anybody else uses Sony Vegas for video editing, but my problem with Vegas is I have upgraded to the new version for 3 years, okay? And it's usually like $200. I usually get it around Black Friday. They still have yet to fix the issue where you'll be doing a bunch of stuff in Vegas, and the program will just hang. It does it on my desktop here. It does it on my laptop. It does it on my server. And it's a common problem, and I'm quite frankly tired of dealing with it. It's so annoying. Like, I've lost so much work because, like, I'll be doing a bunch of stuff, and I do try to save when I make a bunch of changes, but it'll catch me off guard one time, and I've lost so much work by having to redo it because there's software crashes. It's so annoying. And it's unacceptable that it's been going on for 3 years, and I contact their support, and they're fucking useless. They're absolutely fucking useless. I'm done. I'd rather pay a monthly subscription fee to Adobe and have software that works. So we'll see if Premiere does the same crap, but I'm beyond frustrated with Vegas at this point. So, Sai, who had the motor issue, he said he flipped the wires and the stepper works. Awesome. Yeah, if your stepper motor is vibrating, swap the 2 center pins. That will usually clear it right up. Most of the time. Not every time. Most of the time. So, KY Guns is saying he's printing ASA on an easy mat, and the print leaves behind a white residue on the outline of the model on the mat. There's also residue on the print itself. So, that is typically from stress marks. There is a video, search TH3D white marks on YouTube, and there is a video. Basically, the TLDR is hit it with a heat gun and on the print, and the marks will go away. And then for the mat itself, just wipe it down with IPA, and it'll be fine. So it's a combination of some of the actual mat coming off with the print because of how hard it's holding onto it, but usually the white marks on the prints are caused by the plastic stresses, and hitting it with the heat gun will cause it to remelt just enough to where they fade away. There's actually a video where I show doing it. I think it's one of our easy tips on there. So let's see. Does the V6 nozzle work with a Dragon hot end? I think it does. Can anybody confirm? I think the Dragon hot end takes V6 style nozzles. I don't have a Dragon hot end because there's a bunch of intellectual property issues with the, I believe it was the heat breaks, where they basically violated Slice Engineering's heat break design. Like, they just straight up copied it. Yeah. So I'm not going to give money to a company that's violating it, especially U.S. company's patent. Slice Engineering are good people, and, you know, don't support people that actively violate patents. I've also multiple times spoken out against BL Touch clones. BL Touch is a patented device, and they're a small company, so they don't really have the money to go after all these Chinese companies that are knocking off their product, including Creality. So, yeah. If something's open source, fine. But if you're copying stuff that's patented, shame. Like, you know, it's, yeah, anyways, won't touch it. Justin Dybell. Yeah, I know Justin has a Dragon. He said the Dragon does take a V6 nozzle. So, yeah, any of the V6 nozzles we carry should work in the Dragon because they're the same nozzle. I do like the V6 nozzle size. It's easy to find parts, whether it's through us or any other sellers. It's such a common size. So, and that is an open source design, so anybody can make nozzles for them. Doc Brown, good luck with Adobe Premiere. It's PITA. Hugo says just use DaVinci Resolve. I saw people talking about DaVinci Resolve. I do see it's also free. I do not mind paying for software. I know some people are like, I'll never pay for software. I have no problem paying for software if it makes my life easy. I signed up for the 2-week trial for Premiere, so I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't know, what does chat think? Anybody have any opinions on Premiere versus DaVinci Resolve? I'm done with Vegas. I'm absolutely done with Vegas. They don't care about making their shit. So, I should say making their shit work. Here's a question though. I just looked up DaVinci Resolve. Why are there like 4 different versions? Okay, I see there's an older one. Do I want Studio or Resolve? Someone help me out here. Which one should I download? Studio or Resolve? Anyways, I think we went through all the questions. I don't see anything here. We're coming up on the hour mark anyways, so that works. I need to eat something. I'm actually getting lightheaded here, just sitting here, and I don't feel like eating a snack on screen. Someone says, oh, use the older one, use Resolve 16? If there's 16 and 17. Studio is paid, okay. Austin Rowan says, my Ender 6 keeps getting clogged at the extruder. What do you mean by clogged at the extruder? Like, at the actual feed gears? Because... Okay, I'll download Resolve 16. That makes it... Oh, I gotta sell my firstborn child. I'll fill that out later. So if it's getting clogged at the actual extruder gears, that usually will indicate that there's a problem at your hot end side. Because if an extruder is like chewing through the filament, it's because it can't push the filament. And the most common issue is that your hot end has a clog or a jam or something. On the Creality hot ends, the most common cause of that is when your PTFE tube is backed out and it creates a gap between the end of the PTFE tube and your nozzle. You know, that's... Yeah, it sounds like you could either have... Like, if I'm just spitballing here based on information, but he says he tried to calibrate it. I get good prints, but then 3 prints later it'll start to spit and the prints come out spiky. So I'm assuming you mean by spiky is like kind of sparse. It's not smooth. It's not even. You have to clean the hot end every 3 prints. I would check the PTFE. There's multiple videos about, you know, the Creality. Just look up Creality hot end fix. Luke, one also known as One Bad Marine. He's the one who originally came up with the hot end fix. There's a bunch of other people that like kind of knocked him off. But check out, like, look up. I think Edgetech has a video on it. The Creality hot end fix. I would start there and make sure that that is not causing the problems, because that's a weird issue where sometimes it'll print fine, even with that void, and other times it just won't print at all. I have had issues like my Ender 3. I recently changed the nozzle out because I just kept getting clog after clog after clog after clog. I ran PET G on it, and then I went back to PLA and started getting clogs despite even, you know, ramping the nozzle up to like 240 and then just pushing a bunch of PLA through it to make sure all the PET G was. I ended up just changing the nozzle out. Sometimes it's as simple as changing the nozzle out. The nozzle is a, you know, typically inexpensive fix depending on what kind of nozzle you're running. It's a simple way to rule out problems. Another thing is if you just have filament that has crap in it, you said you're using inland and hatchbox. Those are both lower quality filaments. Try either a completely different roll from a completely different batch, or try a completely different brand, because I've had so many issues with some of the cheaper stuff. There's a reason I'm willing to pay, you know, $5-6 more a roll and use the coax stuff that we also sell. We started selling it after we used it for like almost 3 years, is because I got tired of tracking down print quality issues that ended up just being inconsistent, poor quality filament. So I would start out, like I said, check the Creality hot end fix, make sure that that's not the problem. If that isn't the issue, I would change the nozzle out, and at that point I would just go with a completely different brand and roll of filament. So because like I said, I've had so many random issues that ended up just being filament that was just had crap in it. So, you know, I had tried Ziltech a while back. They're a Chinese made filament, and I had clog after clog after clog after clog, and I spent so much time, and then I ended up just going and getting a different brand, and everything was fine. So sometimes you just get filament that's got, you know, debris and contaminants in it that don't get melted down, and it stops up the nozzle. So, and it's very frustrating. So, but yeah, there's a lot of other stuff you can rule out before you go and start buying other filament. The main thing is, especially on the Creality printers, is check to make sure that you don't have that gap. I'm going to wrap this up because I need to eat something. I don't feel like eating on stream here. So I am going to give my little buddy back there a little treat. I think he's asleep, but we'll find out. I'm just going to touch the treat bag. I haven't even touched it yet. Do you see that? He knows. He knows. All right, I see JD asked a question. He said, I have a Ender 3 with a micro-Swiss direct drive. My extruder stepper motor will not work on its own header. The stepper motor works on different axis, but does not work on the board. Any ideas? You probably don't have your hot end heated. If your hot end is not past 170C, it will not move because of cold extrusion prevention. That's on by default in Marlin. It's also on by default in our firmwares. A lot of people get stumped by that because they think the driver's bad when it's just the hot end not heated. So, yeah, that's usually the most common cause. If your hot end is heated past 170C, then you might have a bad board. So, he's... Okay, hang on. You set? Shake. Good boy. Touch. Sit. There you go. Good boy. All right. Well, it was fun hanging out with you guys. I will see you again at 5 o'clock on Friday. Keep an eye out for the Chiron stuff coming out tomorrow, and I will see you guys on the next stream. As always, happy printing. I'll talk to you guys. I need to eat something. I'll talk to you guys later.